Yeah, well, at the last impeachment, we saw the ruling party leader, Han Dong-hoon, urging members of the ruling party not to vote for impeachment. But this time, he's told members of the party to vote with their conscience. And he said he has, in fact, backed impeachment. And so there is inferring that he supports other members of the People Power Party, which is President Yoon's party, to do so. Now, the one lawmaker who did, the ruling party lawmaker who did vote for impeachment last time, Kim Sung-wook, he says he has been receiving death threats since making that vote, with people calling him disloyal, a traitor to his party. No doubt some of the lawmakers will be worried about receiving the same treatment if they do vote for impeachment, but also ruling party lawmakers who've been reluctant to do so, saying they are being bombarded with thousands of text messages and calls from Koreans calling for them to act on impeachment, some calling it a form of phone terrorism. But more and more it is feeling like we might get that number of ruling party lawmakers that is needed to cross the floor, and that is 8. That is all that is needed, 8 additional votes for impeachment, or even a quorum so that the impeachment process is valid to go ahead and for Yoon to be impeached. Of course, it might not, they might refrain, but I think the feeling is right now that number might be reached. However, if Yoon is impeached in the National Assembly, that doesn't mean that the impeachment is finalised. That's just a motion in the National Assembly. It then has to go to the Constitutional Court, where a majority of judges will ultimately decide whether it is valid or not, and that could take months. And of course, it's worth noting that Yoon was the chief prosecutor under the former Democratic Party government. So he was appointed by the government that's now, the party that's now in opposition. And he is the man who went after former impeached President Park Geun-hye. So he knows constitutional law inside out. He knows the impeachment process inside out. And he seems very confident at the moment that he'll be able to beat that process. So again, even if he is impeached during tomorrow's vote, it doesn't mean the impeachment is final. And if he's not impeached, the opposition Democratic Party, which has a majority in the 300-seat National Assembly, says they're going to bring it up again and again on a weekly basis and perhaps even on a daily basis.
Well, Jack, there have been mass protests outside Yoon's residence at the moment, and one day ahead of another impeachment motion. What are they demanding?
Well, to get their message through to Yoon. And we have seen a big protest again outside the National Assembly last night. You could describe that as a mass protest as this other impeachment draws near. The one outside the residence was a smaller protest. It was around 1,000 people, still sizable, but not the tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands that we saw just after the martial law was revoked. But still, the difference with this crowd is they were very assertive, I think would be perhaps an understatement. The crowds outside the National Assembly are very orderly, but this was a very rambunctious crowd trying to force their way into the residence, the police pushing them back, but they're very determined to get their message across. We can listen now to a bit of what a few of those protesters outside the residence had to say.
Here we are on the sidewalk, and police are blocking our way to the president's residence. We tried to pass through here, and the police put me, so I almost fell down. This is a violent situation, and they cannot block us like this.
I'm here in front of Yoon Suk-yeol's residence, but police are setting up barricades and stopping us from moving forward. I'm here as a citizen. Yoon Suk-yeol delivered a speech, and it's all nonsense, and it made me so angry, so I decided to come here.
And I think because we're on the eve of this second impeachment, we can expect a big anti-Yoon crowd in front of the National Assembly tonight, and perhaps tomorrow very big crowds because it's the weekend outside the National Assembly, and no doubt a pro-Yoon demonstration in the city. You mentioned the very low popularity ratings he has, but of those who support him, they tend to be very loyal and very vocal, and we can perhaps expect them to gather for a mass rally in the city over the weekend as well, particularly in the lead up to that impeachment vote.